Guys, listen. Today we have James Watson, one of my very first mentors, the mentor of Shako Lockman from Mind's Eye Status. What a thing, huh? This is a great conversation with my brother. I hope you enjoy his Glaswegian Scottish accent.
Yeah, you better have subtitles on.
We'll put some subtitles. So stay tuned. We're going to talk communication, mindset, spirituality, and let's go. I feel like life will only get better when I have kids, to be honest.
It will. It will. The travelling changes. Still travel lots. It's just a different. I was saying that, bro. Dubai when it's just her and I, and Dubai when we're with the kids are two different versions of Dubai. Very different versions of Dubai because you do very different things, right? So, but look, when you're ready, you're ready.
Yeah. No, next year is definitely the... Are we rolling, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, cool. Yeah, next year I definitely want to travel a lot.
Yes.
Sorry, before next year I want to travel a lot because next year I want to start a family.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Is the audio good?
Yes.
Audio is good? Great, thank you. Yeah. I've heard that from multiple friends that they make more money actually after they have kids.
I always say there's no better motivation than looking at your kid and knowing you have to put food on the table and be a good example. When one of our sales reps has a kid, I'm like, oh, they'll get better now.
Wow.
Genuinely, because I'm like, you can't not turn up to work, you can't be lazy. Again, your selfishness goes away. So now working's non-optional. As long as you got a moral compass, as long as you're a good parent. So I always say that that's what I mean. There's no better motivation than a child looking in your eyes and you knowing that you have to be a good example and put food on the table.
Do you actually see that with your staff?
Yes.
That they perform better when they have kids?
I see a difference in guys.
No way.
I see a huge difference in just
in the KPIs?
Yeah, see a huge difference. Again, I'm going to say this again. As long as they've got a strong moral compass, which is other people, it's one of the first things I look for when I work with people's moral compass. If you've not got a moral compass, I'm not working with you. I don't care how good you are at sales.
Love it.
So I see a huge difference. We'll take Ayub, the young lad that runs the sales agency. His work ethic since he had Zayan, his wee kid, has went through the roof. Like, he was always a late sleeper. He'd go up at 10, he'd go up at 11, he'd rock into his work at 11, he'd run a very successful business, make great money. Now when I talk to him, he's sitting having coffee with someone at 8 in the morning. He's like, now I have to get stuff done. Now
Nice.
So I think it goes from, I'd really like to make a lot of money and I'd really like to be successful to, I have to be. And some people have that before, but I see a difference. Again, I'm going to say good people who want to be good examples for the kids, I see a huge difference.
There's such a difference between I want to be successful and now I have to be successful. Yes. And I don't have kids yet, soon, God willing. But I felt that even right before I got married to my wife, because she's very traditional, as I told you, and she wants to be a stay-at-home wife. She is a stay-at-home wife. In fact, she helps me with social media management a little bit, but it's at home. It's not much. She's basically a stay-at-home wife. And I knew that I wanted a traditional marriage as well. So in order for me to make that happen, where I'm the one paying all the bills, I'm the one taking care of us, that meant that I had to make it work.
Yep.
Otherwise, in fact, one of the biggest breakthroughs that I had with business and even with finances was when my back was against the wall and I was dead broke and I had no choice but to make it happen. So I've shared that on a couple of podcasts. But before we continue, I just want to make a quick introduction.
Sure.
Mr. James Watson, thank you so much for being here, brother. Yep. I'm genuinely so excited that we're doing this because this has been a dream for me. Because for those of you watching, this man right here is literally, I would say arguably my very first mentor, because I started working with you when you were running Alba International, which was a direct marketing company where we were doing fundraising for charity, and it was through Doornocking. I've shared that story with some of you before. Very, very difficult job for me when I had social anxiety. And that role, you and the team helped me step out of my comfort zone, develop my communication skills, and that had a snowball effect and a domino effect to what we have today, which is a Mind's Eye Status podcast. And as an executive communication coach, I'm always talking about the importance and benefit of having mentors, whether they're mentors that you just work with or mentors that you're paying, friends, family, could be anything. And I went from having a mentor to being a mentor myself now as well. And now I know you're doing some coaching, you're running your digital marketing agency as well, and still running some companies for direct marketing. But that's not really what I want to talk about today. Today I want to talk about you, a little bit about your story, and any advice that you might have for our listeners, and just keep it personal as well. But firstly, just thank you so much for being here, man.
It's exciting for me. I just says before we even started rolling there, right? It was more for me. It's more hanging out with you. It's not this. It's not the podcast. It's
100%.
not adding value. It's just hanging out with you. It's really funny because we sat down on the couch and I'm like, who'd have thought when we met all that time back in Sydney ago that we'd be sitting in Dubai doing a podcast together.
Absolutely.
So no, thank you, man. It's
No,
really made a huge difference to the break I'm on, knowing I was going to come hang out with you. It's made it
I
very
really
different.
appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I've been looking forward to this so much. I'm going to share a couple of stories about you. I haven't even told you this before the podcast. I don't know how you're gonna feel about this, but you just said before that introduction, which we'll keep in anyway. You just said that you won't work with somebody unless they have a moral compass. Yep. There are certain moments in a man's life where you learn a hard lesson, and you learn it the hard way.
Yep.
And it changes your character. It's a defining moment, I call it. A defining moment. There's a fork in the road. You can either take the lesson, get better, or ignore it and get bitter, right? There was a moment, I don't know if you remember this. I was doorknocking. We had a rule. In fact, I think it was a legal thing as well. You couldn't sell or you couldn't sign somebody up to the product if they were under 18 or if they were under 20 years old.
Yeah, there was an age, yep.
I think it was 20 or 21 years old. I was in the company for about 5-6 months. I was a team leader at that point, and I signed somebody who was 18. And at that point, this is like 8 years ago, wasn't it?
Must have been more.
9?
I've been home for 8 years, so it must have been 9.
Must have been 9 or 10 years ago.
UK for 8, yeah.
All right. I say that because this is not who I am now. For the record, I signed this guy up. He was 18 years old. Shouldn't have done that. That information came to you, and you called me, and you said, Shako, because I was on my way to the field to work. You said, Shako, you're not working today. And you kind of left it at that. And you said, come talk to me at the end of the shift, because I had to take care of the team. You remember this?
It'll come to me as we go, yes.
At the end of the day, I was so scared because you were so nice. Like, you were really nice to me, very motivating, but also you had that confidence and that dignity. At the end of the shift, I come to your office. You tell me, close the door, sit down. I'm sitting in front of you and you say, why the hell would you do that? And I said, I didn't say anything. And you said, you know he was 18 years old. Why would you sign him up? That's not what we do. I didn't take you for a dishonest man. Oh, that cut me. First of all, that cut me. And then you said something else. And this is the line that I'll never forget. You said, this action makes me question your whole character. When you said that to me, mate, I took it to heart, and I was never the same after that, in the best way possible. I realized that my actions when nobody was watching is what creates my character.
100%, yes.
And now I expect that same level of moral compass with my staff as well.
Yep.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome. That's funny. That's not your character.
No.
That's not. You even seeing you today bring back, when you mentioned the company, Alba Internet, I've not thought of that company because when I left Australia and went back, we shut that company down, went back to the UK to start again, and you're bringing back memories I've not thought of, and that's not who you are.
No.
That's not. I think my mentor drilled that into me, and he always say you've got 1,000 little decisions a day, and it's always the right choice versus the easy choice. Most people take the easy one. No one takes the right one. You got to decide who you want to be. And I get told that my first day in sales. I get told sales was full of people who were just chasing money, and there was people that chased money that jumped from product to product, service to service, company to company. They had no moral compass because they always took the easy choice. And then there was people that believed in longevity and reputation and moral compass, and they took the right choice all the time. So I've always, 22 years in selling, always stuck by that, and still to this day I think it's more important for somebody to have a moral compass than anything else.
Absolutely.
So.
And they end up lasting as well. It's the patience is a virtue. And I want to talk about communication with you as well, because you're a master communicator. And very rarely do I have somebody on the podcast who is a master communicator. Usually they're experts in different fields that we like discussing. But I want to talk about first impressions and how important communication is, and any thoughts you have on this, because the reason I joined your company to work under you, it was very specific. It was because of you. It wasn't just because of it wasn't for the job, man. I mean, the first day I remember I was out there door knocking. It was tough. I was getting rejected. I'm like, this is tough. But I kept my attitude. And I remember when I had my job interview at the end of that experience, it was a second round interview with you. What I remember from you was how attentive you were and still are when you were listening to me. You were so curious about me and my experience when I was door knocking. You were curious about my motivation for joining a job like that. And I remember you reflected back to me some things about me that you were reading between the lines. For example, you called me determined. And in my head, I was thinking, yeah, I am determined. Like, he notices that. He was aware of that. And that was a very good first impression. And I noticed that was consistent. It wasn't just like some trick. You were interested in me. You were very attentive, super, super present, and curious. And that impression made you very likable, made me trust you, made me want to work with you as well. And you don't see that often. It's very rare. So what role has communication played in your life so far?
Oh, huge. It's everything.
Especially professionally.
That's why I got into sales. You mentioned the word curious there. I'm still curious and fascinated by people. They're all very weird and very wonderful in their own little ways.
Yeah.
It's also why I like traveling. It's why I like Dubai more than anything. Everybody's so different.
Yeah, they really are.
Everybody's got a story. No matter where I go, I've been in the gym in my hotel for the past 5 days. I think I've made about 10 friends.
Nice.
I think professionally communication for me is key. I think you need confidence, because no matter who you are and where you work, unless you're sitting in your bedroom on your own, in your mum's house, you intend on never going out the house or doing a call with anyone, you're going to have to learn to be a communicator. And for me, that's played a huge role in my professional and personal life. But I think the big thing for me, and again, this is why I got into sales in the first place, and I enjoy people. I enjoy learning. Let's go back to the moral compass part for me. I think it's very easy for me to be curious and attentive because, people, I want to get to know people. It's very easy for me to be likable because I'm genuinely interested in getting to know people. I generally enjoy meeting new people. When I smile at someone or ask how they are, it's not because I feel like I have to. It's because I
genuinely curious.
Yeah, and it sounds a little bit spiritual, but the older I get, the more into it I am, to be quite fair.
Why?
I don't know, I start to feel energy a little bit more from people. Now I'm very sensitive to it. I've realised I'm 45 years old. Most people are really good. Most of the...
I just want to pause there.
Go.
What triggered that sensitivity to other people and energy?
What triggered that? Just being very in tune. I'm very big into my own energy. As you know, I'm very big into having a positive mindset, right? Especially being in sales for 22, 23 years. It's 99% of being in sales is just having the right mentality, right? So I think that's the first part. I think I've become more sensitive as I've became more in touch with my own energy and who I am as a person. And I think as that started to happen, when I'm having a conversation with someone, I'm starting to feel more of a connection. I start to feel I don't know if I'm making any sense here, but
No, absolutely.
no one's asked me to break this down and explain this before. But I think genuinely when I meet people, I'm very in tune with my instincts and my gut, and people are going to give off energy straight away.
They do.
How they communicate. I think people feel when they meet you, and people also see and hear when they meet you. So I think very quickly, and I'm sure you're the same, when you meet someone without verbally saying a word, without anything being said, without touching the person, I guarantee you'll get a feeling for them straight away.
Absolutely.
And but because you've got a genuine interest in people as well, and you're a master communicator also, he says, I was a master communicator, you're a master communicator. When you say hi to people, there'll be a warmth to you saying hi. One of my mentors used to call it the likability factor.
Yeah.
He's like, if you have the likability factor, if you generally have an interest in people, if you're genuinely excited about meeting people, then you'll get what's called the likability, which means it's hard for people not to like you when they meet you. So I actually learned that from someone. His name was Jesse Young, and he was my mentor for 15 years. And anytime I seen him, I remember going into a restaurant with Jesse. And so he goes into the restaurant, we sit down at the table, I'm 22, 23 years old, and the waiters come over and they're fussing over him, like, hey Jesse, how are you? And blah, blah. And they make this huge fuss like he was a superstar. And so the waiters go away. And this was in Glasgow. Jesse's from New York, by the way. Jesse doesn't stay in Scotland. So this is like one of my local restaurants.
Got it.
And I looked at Jesse and I'm like, how many times have you been here? He's like, once yesterday. And I'm like, how are they treating you so nice and how? And he's like, because when I introduce myself, I actually ask their name and I get to know them. And this is when I learned the value of being a good communicator and the value of giving off good energy and actually taking an interest. Number one, I seen how differently he got treated to anybody else in the restaurant. You generally, if you were watching for the outside in, you would think he was someone that either spent a lot of money, owned the place, or was a celebrity, and he just came once the day before. And just because of the way that he conducted himself, communicated, treated people, and how he made people feel, I seen that his life was going to be, professionally and personally, I seen his life was going to be a lot easier. I remember when I first heard him speak, going home to my partner at the time and saying to her, when he speaks, for some reason I listen. I don't know why. I wasn't always a good listener. I wasn't always a good student. I wasn't academic. I wasn't good in school. I wasn't good at taking orders. But when this guy spoke, I just listened. And looking back on it, it was because of how he made me feel when he spoke to me and first introduced himself to me. So I suppose for me, I try and mimic him a lot. When I think about it now, I remember when I was a young kid thinking, if I can be half as good as communicator as this guy is, I'm going to do well professionally and personally in life. So I've always tried to mimic that. So I've seen the effect of being a good communicator, which was why I think what you do is absolutely outstanding and great, because I think it's a key part, not just professionally for people to make money or move up the ladder, but I think in life, I think I have a better wife than I would have had if I wasn't a good communicator. I think I raised my kids better. And I just think my life's a lot easier because I'm confident communicator and
absolutely
good with people.
It impacts everything. Like that's why I chose it as my area, because it literally impacts everything, from your experience talking to wait staff, to making friends in the gym, to the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, to your relationship with clients and colleagues. But I completely agree. And that first point you made about being attuned to energy, I noticed that started happening for me when I began the practice of self-awareness and meditation specifically.
Yep.
So do you meditate?
Yep.
Yeah, of course you do.
Someone made a comment that I spend a lot of time with myself thinking the other week. He's like, you spend a lot of time thinking, don't you? So I don't sit traditionally with my legs crossed and meditate.
Sure.
But I spend a lot of time on my own in the hills or out a long walk, no music, no sound, in the car. I don't even play the radio in the car.
What do you do? Conscious thinking? Or?
Conscious thinking, yeah, all the time. You're talking about self-awareness. I'm always for me, it's a lot about self-development. We spoke about that earlier.
That's what it is. Yeah.
But yeah, I do a lot of quiet meditation, yeah, but not traditionally just sitting in the one spot in a dark room a lot, but I do a lot of it.
I would say, so the first pillar of communication that we teach our clients is presence and energy. And that's where we teach them to be very present to the moment where they're communicating with people.
Yep.
And that likability factor, I always say it's not that hard to develop that. All you need to do is pay attention to the person that you're with.
Yep.
That's all you need to do.
Yep.
Be a little bit curious, be present, pay attention to them, and they're gonna like you because immediately you're gonna stand out. Because how many people actually do that? It's so rare.
Yep.
That's presence and energy. And then you have body language, which is one of the easiest ways to improve your confidence, improve your charisma. Then you have reading people, learning how to read social cues, very important.
Yep.
So you can calibrate accordingly as well and adapt and adjust where you need to. Then you have building connections and rapport. And then you have confidence and authenticity, which is more of that inner work. Now, before we started the podcast downstairs, I said to you, one of the first things I said to you was, James, I don't think you realize you were my very first mentor, which was around 8-9 years ago. And you said, wow, I'm a completely different person. Where would you say you've grown the most, and what have been the biggest lessons for you over the past decade?
When have I grown the most? We're talking about professionally. Where have I grown the most, or personally?
Personally.
That's a really deep, good question. I'm just going to say that to start. You're making me think here.
Take your time.
Really good. I've learned that's all right. I think it's twofold. I think I'm a better human being. That's how I would describe it. I think I've evolved. Forget professionally here. I think I've just evolved in being a better person, part of humanity. Over the past decade, I think I became a better dad, a better husband, a better friend. I think all that transfers into professional life anyway. And my biggest lesson is sometimes you're too busy working in things to work on them. So sometimes you're too busy to become a better dad or become a better husband or become a better, brother, sister, friend, whatever. Even in business, I think I've learned that it's not about there's an old saying, I'm sure it was Rockefeller that says it. It says that some people are too busy to make money. I used to think the working hard was so this is where I've developed. I used to think the working hard meant that I got up early, went home late, but I realised over the past decade that sometimes I was too busy to develop. And I go back to the meditation part. That's also why I spend a lot of time myself, because I've learned to make sure that any moves that I'm making are high leverage actions that are very deeply thought out and calculated long before they happen. The only way to describe this, and it's just my fun way of describing it, if you're do you watch Marvel?
I've seen some.
Seen the wizard guy. What's his name again? Doctor Strange.
Yep.
Do you you remember the scene where he was talking, Tony asked him to go see if they ever beat Thanos? When he goes through, he's like, I've checked a million ways, one way works.
Yeah.
I've learned to take time out to do that with every move in my life. Every
wow.
personal move. Not that I'm Doctor Strange, but just to take that time where I can go, okay, if I'm going to make this move personally and I'm going to make this move professionally, what's all the ways I could do it? What's all the paths I could take, and what's the outcome of each, until I find the best, the quickest and most efficient way that's going to give me the highest outcome for the smallest
biggest
input.
leverage.
Yeah, biggest leverage, highest leverage action. That's professionally, I think that's what I've learned. I think I've developed just as being a better person, I think, and just want to add value. So we were talking even about my performance coaching. Like I think as I get older, I think professionally, I've started to enjoy helping other people a lot more and stop chasing money. I know the money will come behind that. So professionally developed there. I hope that answers the question, mate. You're asking me. You're making me think.
It's a big question.
Yeah.
It's a big question.
Yeah. I think every year I evolve. I haven't changed as a person. I'm just a better version every year than I was the year before of the person I already am.
It's scary to me if you're not, right? For me, the thing that scares me the most is just the thought of staying the same.
Yep.
in a year
Yep.
or in 5 years, that means you're not growing. That
Mhm.
means you're staying the same.
Yep.
Would you consider yourself spiritual? You said
Yes.
you've become more spiritual.
Extremely.
How? What does that mean for you?
Energy. I believe in karma.
Same.
Yeah, I believe in karma. Good things will happen to good people, and bad things will eventually happen to bad people. I won't even kill a fly. They won't. My kids find it hysterical. They're like, hit the fly. I'm like, let's leave the fly, you know. So I think as I get older, a bit more spiritual. I'm not a religious person. And so I think for me, I believe we're more than what we are here. I believe there's an afterlife. I, somewhere deep inside me, believe this is some form of test for whatever happens next. I definitely think, I don't know what happens next. I don't have one set belief, but I definitely believe in the human spirit. Yeah.
I heard a really interesting piece of wisdom from a mentor of mine. He said if something challenging or negative is happening in your life and it feels like punishment, perhaps your negative karma needs to run its course.
Needs to balance it back out.
Yeah. And there's no point trying to resist it. And I thought that was so brilliant.
That is a good, like a common cold, right? No matter what you do or how upset you get,
Yeah.
it's just going to go. That's why I don't put any negative karma out in the world. None whatsoever. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't even get in an argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that with being kind, putting positive energy out, with being assertive and setting boundaries where you need to?
I think that I don't think they have to be different things. I think you can be positive and being assertive and being, I think for
I
me,
agree.
I don't think that people, sometimes it's like people say to me, sometimes I really have to have this important conversation. I'm like, what conversation is not important? But why are you why are you making them different? Like every conversation you have with someone's either is going to have an impact on the person regardless of how you think about it. So I just make sure that if I'm being assertive, what was the other question you asked? So assertive and...
Basically, how to be assertive without being a pushover, because it's such a common question.
How to be assertive without being a pushover.
Sorry, not without being a pushover, without being a douche.
All right, so we'll not say without how to be assertive without being a douche. I think communication, I think I'm very good at, I don't know, people that work with me say, you know, your mum and dad's got a look and a tone of voice they take. I can do it with a smile on my face.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think you can get away with a lot in life, especially when you're being assertive, especially when you're setting boundaries, if you do it with a nice smile on your face.
Yeah.
And I think tonality when you're speaking to someone and eye contact when you're being with someone, I can be assertive without being a douche. So so closing someone in something and you say, okay, so if someone makes a mistake, I could choose to be a douchebag or I can choose to be nice. I never get upset at people. I just say, no problem. Once is a mistake, twice is a choice. Is this something that's ever going to happen again? And I just make sure I maintain eye contact. I stop at the end of my words quite quickly and I'm like, is this ever going to happen again? And they'll just go, no, and that for me is me being assertive. And they'll go, it's never going to happen again. And it's just, I think that the best way for me, for anybody who's watching who doesn't understand that, your parents had this. I don't think they consciously knew they were doing it, but mum had a tone of voice and a look that was, okay, Shaka, you're going to do this, right? And you wouldn't think she'd been bad, but you just knew that tone meant there's a boundary set here.
Yeah.
And you either, or you won't do that again, will you? And you go, no, I won't. There's just, you could feel it coming off her. So I don't think you have to be a douche to be assertive with people. I don't think you have to be, there's an old saying actually, firm but friendly.
Fun but friendly.
Firm but friendly.
Firm
but friendly. But that firm tone of voice and that firm little look when you're speaking to someone where it comes across assertive, but you're not being a douchebag, as you said.
That's great advice. Having the smile, especially. The advice that I usually give for people that struggle with being assertive is because they're afraid of conflict, especially.
Yep.
Is say what you need to say, be assertive while remaining polite and respectful.
Yep.
As long as you're polite and respectful, there won't be conflict. Like you think being assertive is going to create conflict, then you're going to attract that as well.
Yep.
There's something called the law of state transference, which is, I mean, I'm sure you probably heard of this, which is basically how you feel internally, what you expect to happen will very likely manifest. So if you expect somebody to reject you, that state is going to transfer just from your body language and your subtleties, and they're going to feel it from your subcommunication, and that's going to be reflected.
Yep.
So it's very interesting.
Something we teach in sales is assuming the sale, right?
Assuming the sale.
You got to enter the sale like the sale's already done.
Nice.
Same idea, right? So when you're talking from a sales point of view, me getting in like we've already like a manifest and think about shaking hands and you signing a contract at the end of it. If I go into it with that, I'll give me the right tone of voice, the right body language, the right confidence. So you're right.
Yeah.
If you get in thinking it's not going to go through, it'll come across and the chances of it going through are very small.
Did you say assuming the sale?
Assuming the sale, it's called.
Let me share with you one of my most profound recent spiritual learnings from a gentleman named Neville Goddard. He's from like the 1930s, 1920s, 30s. He's the OG of manifestation, basically. He's like the godfather of manifestation. He says your subconscious assumptions are what create reality. Not your conscious assumptions, not just telling yourself, I'm going to make the sale, but rather convincing your subconscious mind that you make sales, that you make more money. And the way to do that is by planting that seed, that belief into your subconscious when it's most impressionable, which is either through meditation or in a state where it's similar to sleep as you're falling asleep. Because, I mean, if we think about it, isn't it true that whatever you assume to be true subconsciously, just at the back of your mind, that's going to be your reality, right?
Yep.
If you think that if you have a subconscious assumption that Dubai is full of horrible drivers, what do you think you're going to see when you go on the road?
The horrible drivers.
You're going to keep seeing that. That's the law of attraction in action.
Yep.
But if I have a subconscious assumption that, you know what, Dubai is the most beautiful place on the planet, everybody's so considerate. When I go onto the street, that's what I'm going to start seeing. And you can implant these beliefs, whatever it is, making a certain amount of money, starting a certain business, having a certain relationship, into your subconscious mind, and you will start seeing evidence of that.
Yep.
Externally.
Yep.
Do you have any experience with the whole idea of law of attraction manifestation?
Yes. But let me just, what you were talking about there, I explained quite differently.
Okay.
But I talk about my horrible illustrations on a whiteboard, your conscious and your subconscious, that every time you have a thought, you have a little neurological pathway goes across your conscious brain. And when you think the same thought enough times, your body takes it from your conscious brain and then puts it in your subconscious, because your conscious brain only has enough room for 7 to 10 thoughts at a time. But when you repeat it, it's like saving something on your computer. So if you repeat the same thought over and over, it'll eventually become subconscious.
Oh, wow.
Which means it'll eventually become who you are or what you think. And I give examples of this. This is a funny example. Everyone's got a really ugly mate who thinks he's beautiful. Everyone has the mate. Hopefully they're not that mate, but everyone has the mate who you look at, but he always dates nice girls all the time, and you wonder why. It's because he believes that he's a 10, therefore he attracts a 10.
Yeah.
We've all got a mate who maybe goes to the gym, who's big, but he convinces himself he's not. So my mentor used to always say to me, one of my first mentors from Australia, actually, Tim, you know Tim, he used to say this little saying, what the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve.
Yeah.
So you got to, once you convince yourself consciously, it then becomes subconscious and then becomes who you are.
Yeah.
So I think going back to when you were talking about meditation, and when you were saying that you do this in a meditative state, or you do this when you're falling asleep, again, I think one of the things I teach when I'm talking to people is you got to take more time with yourself to think, because a lot of the time who you're trying to become, you got to convince yourself first you're that person.
Absolutely.
To become it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think people underestimate how much conscious effort and proactivity it requires to truly change your life. One thing that I can't stand is people that expect positive changes to just fall on their lap or the government to fix it for them or something like this. Taking responsibility and utmost accountability is one of my favorite traits in a human being. What traits do you look for in people? What are you drawn to in people? I'm curious.
That's exactly what you say there. Sorry, I'm going to say this wee saying again that I say quite often. No one's coming to save you.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the government coming, I'm like, some people just wait for somebody coming.
Yeah.
You know, I thought about it 10 times last night. I manifested it 10 times, so surely it's going to come to me. Like, you know, I watched it on Instagram last night. It says it will come true, and he's sitting in the house waiting to get it right. But no one's coming to save any of us. The only person that can save us is us, right? I think
Absolutely.
that. Traits, going back to moral compass, I really love working with people who are accountable, like you. So people that are accountable, people that are coachable. I think you and I spoke down the stair before this, and I was talking about why I was really excited in the digital marketing companies, because I don't know anything. I'm a super coachable person. If someone knows more than me about something, then I'll give in to them, and if they tell me to do something. So if someone knows more than me about a subject and they tell me to go do something, then I'm going to go do it straight away. I'm attracted to people like that. People who are humble, no matter how good they are in their role, they're always looking for self-improvement.
It's a success trait. It's a trait. One subject I'm really interested in, James, is the subject of success principles. I believe that there are universal principles that will determine whether somebody's going to be successful or not. And one of those traits in individuals is being coachable, being open-minded. I have a friend, big shout out to William Brown. He's a big business coach. And we started off working together, then we became friends. This guy, he's very public about it. He makes $500,000 a month. Ridiculous amounts of money. He sold his business for like 14.5 million pounds or something like that. When we sit down and we're having cigars and I tell him that one of my reels did really well, or he knows my Instagram does well, he sits there inquisitively, you know, stroking his little goatee. And he asked me, he goes, what worked with that? Like, what did you do? What worked different? And he actually takes advice from me. And I'm not making anywhere as near as he does. He's like he's a whale. Yet he's so curious about my processes and my thought procedure. And I bet that that's one of the big reasons why he's in the position that he's in, of course, as well. His ego doesn't get in the way. One thing that I know that generally I'm a patient guy, but the thing that I'm not patient towards is excuse making and people that have very negative attitudes. That's one thing that I'm just not patient for. I don't tolerate it. That's why. Within myself, and I don't want to deal with it. My clients, most of them, I would say like 95% of them are very, very successful. Either executives, CEOs, entrepreneurs running multi-million-dollar companies. These guys, most of them older than me, we get on the coaching calls and they ask me questions and they're inquisitive and they're curious and they're coachable and they're very technically strong and they're already great communicators, by the way, but they just want to become more advanced. They want to develop that executive presence. They're very open-minded. I've met people at networking events who have subpar communication skills. They ask me what I do, and I tell them I'm a communication coach. And they have this arrogance about them. They say, oh, yeah, I bet some people need that, you know. Not everybody has the communication skills, huh? And I'm thinking in my head, brother, you need it more than my clients do. Like, you need it more than you think. And meanwhile, if you look at their relationships, I've seen this so many times. When you look at their relationships, you look at their partner, you look at their work, you look at their attitude, the way they dress, everything. It's just, it is so clear that something's not working for them. That's putting it nicely, by the way. So when what I've noticed from, especially since I moved to Dubai, and you'll love this once you start spending more time here, the ultra successful people that I spend my time with, they end up winning. You know how they say the rich get richer?
Mm-hmm.
It's because they're open to learning.
Yep.
And open to growing. Therefore, they end up looking better. They end up making more money, being happier, traveling to cooler places. Meanwhile, the people that are waiting to be saved, not willing to take accountability, they're just waiting for a handout. They're like pointing their fingers, saying it's their fault that I'm not rich. It's their fault that I'm not getting the promotion. Meanwhile, Sally got the promotion because she invested in her communication skills more than you, even though you're technically stronger than her. Anyway, that's my rant about attitude.
when you're talking about excuses there, two things. One of my friends used to say excuses are just lies to yourself.
That's exactly what it is.
It's just lying to yourself. That's all excuses are. When I coach people also on in sales, right, in my world, coach people on accountability a lot, right? And direct sales does teach you that. When you're working commission only, it's just you in the doors. It's just you can blame the territory, you can blame the weather, you can do, but when someone's across the street from you doing twice as good, people very quickly learn that it's their fault, right? But I tell people, when you learn accountability, it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's also really empowering. There's two sides to it. Number one, you realise everything in your life that's happening is your fault.
Yep.
Wasn't the government, it's not your mum and dad's fault, wasn't your school, because there's too many examples showing that for the same school, for the same type of parents, they've 10x what you do, right? So I think number one, it's a hard pill to swallow because when people and I think people, when they realise it's their fault, getting a little bit, in themselves quite quickly. When they realise, I've seen people do this.
They what themselves?
They go in themselves a little bit, because you take these confident people that sometimes I got to chip away for 6 months, excuses. They blame everything. They blame me. They blame clients. They blame product. They blame the market. They blame the weather. They blame all this stuff. And it's the look in their face when they eventually realise it's all their fault. And going in themselves, you see this person has confidence from here that just shrinks. That's what I mean by someone who sits up and someone who just goes in themselves. That's what I mean by in themselves, when they have this realisation of, it's me. It's my fault. The amount of times I've had people say, I wish I listened to you 2 years ago, but they were too busy pointing the fingers and do it. On the flip side of that, when they come out of that, they go, wait a minute, it's me. It's all my fault. What does that mean? That means I can do what I want as long as I'm willing to ask questions, get better, be humble, be a good student.
Be humble.
I see it all the time in the sales industry. You'll know, for the sales, especially direct selling, there's a lot of people come in and get huge success very quickly. By huge success, I mean someone who goes from maybe making $1,000 a week to all of a sudden making $10,000 a week very fast. That's also very dangerous, because when someone goes from zero to hero quite quickly, like you says there, they get this sense of arrogance. They get this sense of entitlement. And I've watched it all the time. The people that stay humble and keep thinking they don't know anything and they're not good and it's not enough, keep growing. As soon as someone thinks they're it, they stop. And if they stop for long enough, they start actually going backwards, and you never see those people. And they become bitter, and the excuses become worse. And I never, ever, ever see these people get anywhere in my industry until they can admit that it's their fault.
Absolutely. And that's the reality, is that's most people. It's the majority of the population.
Yep.
Because if you look at, there's a lot of coaches online, right? And sometimes I see a legitimate coach who has a good product, good service, and they have a reel that went viral. And you see the comments like, I'm not going to buy your course, bro, or this is a scam, just another scam, another coach. And sometimes I get curious, frequently I get curious, and I look at the profiles of these people commenting, saying these are scams. And 99% of the time, when I open these profiles, they're just losers, man. Like legitimately, they're just losers hating on somebody online who's legitimately doing something.
Yep.
And I think one of the best ways, I'm dropping a YouTube video about networking tonight, actually.
Lovely.
At the time of recording this, it's a really good one. I share a story of how I made a good, solid network of friends by going to different masterminds and paying at these masterminds.
Yep.
I think one of the easiest ways for anybody listening to surround themselves with winners, with people who are high frequency that are going to lift them up, is to find a mastermind. It could be Diamond Eye with myself. It could be anything else online that you resonate with, that you trust, that you need to improve, communication, business, whatever it is, and invest in it, because it's not just the content that you're going to learn. Like with my clients, for example, one of the biggest benefits they get in Diamond Eye isn't me teaching them X, Y, and Z. It's them being around other people who are also willing to invest in themselves.
Yep.
Now you're in a high frequency environment. And that's how I've made some of my best friends, because you realize those people in those masterminds sitting there asking questions are super open-minded and very growth-orientated as well. Or you can stay the same. Go to your 9 to 5, watch Netflix before you go to sleep, and just not change anything at all.
And when your time comes to go into the next place, you'll go bitter and you'll go full of regret.
Yeah.
It's funny you're talking about masterminds. I am looking to invest $10,000 a month to get coaching and mentorship, and I was on a call with Patrick Bet-David's team.
Yep.
And so they says to me, why do you want to be here? Why do you want to do this? I'm like, number one, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. Like I want to find somewhere where, number one, I'm the smallest person in the room for a start. I want to feel silly. I want to learn. I want someone to look at me and go, why are you doing that? Do it this way. That's a ridiculous way to do things. I've not had that in a few years, so I need some form of mentorship. But the other reason you say is there is I'm like, regardless of who else is in that room that I'm going to be in, I can learn from everybody. Like I'm going to be in a room full of other people that are willing to spend, I think it was $75,000 for the year, right?
Wow.
So, and I'm like, and I've looked at other ones like 120, whatever, right? Because I would pay more.
Yeah.
I would pay more because I think it's super important to get in the room for coaching and being around those people. But I'm like, there could be someone there who has less experience than me that could tell me one thing that could change my whole life.
Absolutely.
I'm like, so it's not just the actual mastermind I'm going to or the Patrick Bet-David systems. Like, I don't know who else is going to be there, but getting in a community, and I know the power of this. You'll know this from sales as well. Being in a space with other people who are like-minded on the same journey in itself is unbelievable for your self-development.
Absolutely. That is so cool. Patrick Bet-David is, he's a guy, man.
He is. Yeah.
That is really cool. So are you gonna work with him potentially?
I'm looking at different things. I don't know where they go specifically in the digital marketing world. I don't know whether to do it. I'm fishing about, I'm trying to find my tribe, but that's also why I want to come to Dubai and spend some more time. I want to come and pay and go to some masterminds, go to some events. I want to find my people. I want to find mentors, but I'll pay for it. I've no issues. It'd be nice to find mentors without paying for it, but you know,
it's the quickest, easiest way to improve your network. Just pay into the circle.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest pieces of advice I have for people that want to network.
Yep.
Just pay your way in.
Yeah.
Like you're just shortcutting it, and they're gonna teach you. They're gonna provide value, and you're gonna be surrounded by people that have paid as well.
But a lot of people look at it. See when you say the word. See when you're saying pay. I don't look at it like I'm spending money.
It's investment.
It's an investment.
100%.
It's an investment. Do you know how much money I've wasted on things that added no value to my life?
Yeah.
I'm like, and it's so funny because I come across a lot of people who are not willing to. They'll go out and spend. I don't know. Let's just talk dollars for a minute. They're going to spend $1,000 a weekend on alcohol and clothes. But when it comes to spending money in a mastermind or a course of self-improvement, they're like, oh, that seems expensive. I'm like, dude, why don't you stop drinking for a while and invest in that? Yeah.
People,
that's a shortcut.
It is a shortcut. People would spend $10,000, $15,000 on a holiday to Hawaii or wherever the hell.
Yep.
But they won't spend $6,000 into a coaching program because they don't see it as an investment. I mean, you're considering this $75,000 annual mentorship. Meanwhile, people, they just stay the same. But I noticed when I started investing large amounts into myself and into my business through mentors and courses, it's an investment. I just got better and better and better.
Yep.
I wouldn't have ended up in Dubai, first of all.
Right.
Because to me, that was a big step.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have grown my business the way that I did. I wouldn't have grown the team the way that I did.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no downside to it. I swear to God, man, in the past 15 months, I've had, I think, 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 business coaches that I've worked with, 4 or 5. And in the past 6 years altogether, I've had about 12. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There was only one experience that didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to. Only one.
Yep.
The rest of them, you make your money back.
That's a good law of average.
Yeah.
In your benefit.
Yeah.
In your favor.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, once you find somebody that you resonate with, a
Yep.
program, a mentor, a coach, that's important as well. But there's so many out there now as well.
Yeah.
As long as...
Sorry, go.
I know, just as long as you find somebody that you trust, that has the track record and you resonate with, I think you're good.
I think those are the key indicators right there.
Yeah.
Someone you resonate with, you vibe with for your tribe. You trust is important because I think when you find mentors, you got to trust them enough to be super honest with them.
Yeah.
And you got to be coachable. And they've got, for me, I've got to want their life. They've got to have something. They've got to. Let's just look at it like a path. They've got to have travelled the path I want to go down.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna listen to them, but yeah, I would sell a car and walk to work every day and rather than invest the money in myself and do it. I think it's important for anybody. And you're right with the most people go through their lives never invest in themselves, but that's why they'll be the same person every single year.
Absolutely. Yeah. It might sound crazy to some people, investing $75,000 for one program for yourself, but the people that it sounds crazy to are just going to end up staying the same.
Yeah, I think also when you spend money on something, when you get your first pair of Air Max you buy yourself as a kid, you take care of them way better than you took care of any of the shoes that your mum and dad bought you when you were a kid.
Yeah.
So when you actually go, loads of people say, I can get that on YouTube, I can get it on Instagram. When you actually invest and you'll physically be more invested in whatever you're learning as well, which also excels. Yeah, you've got skin in the game, right? So as soon as you spend money on something, you're like, okay, it goes from I'd like to get a return on investment to, all right, I have to get a return on investment.
Yeah.
So you become a more obsessed student, I suppose. You ask more questions, you'll study more, you'll do the work. Because if I'm going to spend 10 grand a month or 75 grand a month, then I want to get my money's worth back out, yeah?
Yeah.
So I think there's loads of benefits to it as well. And most people, they just don't want to come out.
Yeah. You know, it's so interesting you say that because when we used to charge 3-4 grand for our coaching, we would attract very low quality clients. And what I mean by low quality clients are clients that wouldn't show up to calls, they weren't committed, they would not do the course. But then now, and I'm happy being public with this, we charge anywhere between 6 and 10 grand for our coaching. And we noticed since we started doing that, the clients that we work with are fewer but much, much higher quality.
Of course.
They're very invested. And they actually start getting better results as well. So those prices are going up, by the way. So if you guys want to work with us, you can book a call with us for free in the description below. Before we wrap up, if you had to leave the world with one message, what would it be? For future generations.
Just be kind to each other, man. Gonna sound very happy here, but yeah, just be kind to everybody. Be nice. They'll come back to you.
Nice. Love it. Keep it simple. Thank you so much, James. Really appreciate it. Where can they find you as well if they want to work with you?
Yeah, on Instagram at _James_Watson.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thanks, man.
My pleasure.